So this is a highly requested tutorial. It is how to count the amount of visitors that are online on your website. Now I say visitors, I don't mean users, because I'm not using techniques to count the amount of users that are currently logged in. I'm just counting the amount of people that are visiting the website. Whether you have a registration function and a login function, this is just going to count the amount of people that are actually visiting the website, therefore visitors. Basically this is the layout of it. It's very simple. Obviously I'm going to allow you to or code it to allow you to place it anywhere on your site, and then in context here's the code. Just browse through it quickly. It's pretty simple. We're using some session functions. We're obviously opening up the directory of the path which the session data is saved. We're doing a few checks here just to validate everything, and then we're using the ereg function just to grab everything that starts with a specific name set, and then we're increasing a variable for that and then echoing this variable out here. So it's pretty easy. If you haven't come across anything like this before, you haven't used the ereg function or haven't opened directories or read directories, this might look a little complicated, but as I follow through with the code, it will probably all make sense. So I'm going to pause the video, wipe this, and we're going to start from the beginning coding this out. Okay, so I've blanked my context page. Here's the index.php file, and I've got this open in Firefox. Obviously that's blank as well, we've got no code. So we're going to get started. Now as we're dealing with sessions, we need to use the session start function. This just sets everything up, allows us to use sessions on this page. That needs to be used on every page that you include a session. And firstly I'm going to start explaining the session save path function, and this looks like this: session save path. And basically to echo this out is going to basically explain what this is. So if we come back into Firefox and refresh this, you can see that I've got c:\\xamp because I'm using the xamp setup, and we've got tmp. So that means temp. We've got our temporary directory for files stored on the server. So things like when we're uploading files, obviously when we're saving sessions, just things like that. It's a temporary directory for everything to go. So we know that this is a specific session save path, so we know that session data is saved here. So we need to find some way to manipulate this and find out how many sessions have been saved at the current time. And to do this, what we're going to do is we're going to use a handle to open a directory. Now opening a directory is different from reading a directory. You can see I've enclosed this in parentheses, by the way. It would look like that without, and then what we're doing is we're just shoving this in here. It's up to you whether you put this in a separate variable. I could do that now, just session path I could call it, and we've shoved that in there, and then we can obviously take this here, copy that, and paste it inside there. So however you want to do it, it really doesn't matter, as long as you've got your handle set up inside a variable. The next thing we want to do is we're going to loop through this open directory function and read the directory, assigning each file to a variable. As it's a while loop, it's going to loop for each file present in this directory. We'll set up the skeleton for our while loop first. Let's just come down here. So we've got two curved parentheses, and then we've got two curly parentheses, so curly brackets. And the while condition inside here is file equals read directory this time, and then that's obviously going to be the handle. So basically what's happening here is we're assigning the variable, we're assigning this value, so we're reading the directory here, so we're reading every file and assigning each file to this file variable here that can be manipulated inside our loop. Obviously this is going to loop for each one. We need some kind of evaluation in here for this read directory function. If read directory can't process a file name, if it's unsuccessful, it will return a false value. So what we need to do is enclose these, or this variable assignment in brackets, and then we need to say doesn't equal false, just to make sure if it is false it's going to terminate, so we don't want to include this inside our loop. If you want to read up on this further, then it should be explained in the PHP manual. Okay, so inside here, from now on what we're going to do is just test this. So we're going to echo out file, and then we can perhaps append a break onto there using a full stop. We can come back into here and refresh, and you can see that we've got a session here. A session here, you could probably tell from the sesh prefix here. And then we've got a dot and a dot there, which is basically directory structuring. What we need to do is we need to not include these. It's just going to perhaps speed up our script a bit, just maybe look a bit more tidy, just be a bit more professional, if not speed it up. So what we're going to do is we're going to start a new if statement, and we're going to come down and include our curly brackets and then our condition inside our normal brackets, our normal parenthesis, and we're gonna say if file. Remember, we're handling this file as each single file that has been listed on each line, and we're gonna say if it doesn't equal a dot and file doesn't equal 2 dots. So remember to evaluate this using the initial variable, because otherwise if we say something like and doesn't equal dot dot, that's not going to work. So we'll shove our variable name in there, then we can echo out file and again append a break onto there. So considering we've done this, we should have them disappear, which we have. So now we've got these three things. We've got a .tmp, which is nothing to do with what we need to take into consideration, and we've got two session files here. So I'm running a bit out of time, running a bit short of time. In the next part of the tutorial, obviously we're going to count these out using the ereg. I'll explain the ereg function, and then we can display the amount of visitors online to the user. Okay, so join me in the next part and we'll go through that. Thank you.